Hello, and welcome back to the Pure Nintendo podcast. This is your weekly dose of all things Nintendo. I am Jemma, and with me this week I have a solid crew of Pure Nintendo alumni. First and foremost, I have our illustrious leader. I have Justin. Welcome back, Justin.
Hey everyone, good to be back. Good to be back here, all you guys.
And I have to say big konbanwa to our Japanese expert and JRPG expert, Kirk. Welcome back, Kirk.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Nice.
It is morning there, right?
It is, yes.
Okay.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So you are correct. Thank you. And last but not least, I have the man with a million Simpsons references. I have Trev. Welcome back, Trev.
Thank you, Jemma. Hi, everybody.
Yes, welcome back to the show. And we have a very big show lined up this week because Nintendo dropped another Direct on us. We kind of knew it. Well, we kind of hoped a September Direct was coming our way as per usual, and it did. And it was pretty huge. A lot of games mentioned. So we won't go through each and every one because there are just too many for this show, but we'll pick our highlights and go through them and give our thoughts on what we like. I mean, first of all, how did we feel about the Direct? Maybe Justin, did you want to start? Were you happy with the Direct? Do you think it was a good overall show presentation?
Yeah, us Metroid fans were long suffering.
Yeah.
Metroid fans will say, trust the process. And wait and be patient. I wasn't expecting Metroid Prime 4. I mean, I wanted it. But I was a little bummed there was nothing Metroid related. But I fully get it. Hey, if there's a new Switch successor, within the next year, save it as a highlight for that, and hopefully it's cross-gen so people still on the Switch get to it. But this Direct overall, there was a lot of remakes. I think you can tell the writing's on the wall that a Switch successor is coming, in the next year. I'm still super excited about Super Mario Brothers Wonder. It was kind of funny that it had its own Direct, and honestly, if it had some of that, it doesn't have to have the whole 15 minutes, but if it had some of that Mario Wonder in this, it might have upped the score I would give this. But like if I was giving it like out of 5, I'd probably give it like a 3 or something, 2 or 3.
Okay. Yeah. How about you, Kirk? What did you think overall?
I completely agree with Justin. I think about midway through it occurred to me that if you wanted proof that a Switch successor is coming out within the next year, this is definitely it. As he said, because almost all the games that they announced, the Nintendo properties were remakes. And we didn't get any big name third party games either. Now we got some great looking games, don't get me wrong, but there was nothing, from any of the major companies that could be a swan song for the Switch. It was mostly just like smaller, really interesting looking games, but nothing major that would indicate that they're not saving. Am I saying this right? Not saving it for the next system.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
we know what you mean.
I may be talking in circles now, but that'll happen after a 40-minute Direct and all the games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a long Direct, which is good. Trev, did you have anything to add to that in terms of your overall impressions?
I would say this Direct gets my worst review ever. 7 thumbs up. No, I concur with my friends and colleagues here. I think despite people saying, for years that Switch 2 is on the horizon, this is the first time where I can say with confidence, yeah, I can see it based on these announcements. But, I think back to like when the 3DS was in a similar position. Some of my favorite times with the 3DS was after the Switch came out. I don't mind ports if they're good games. I don't mind seeing a system, kind of go off into the twilight. So, this wasn't my favorite, but I think there was a solid collection of games, and for a lot of players, they're going to be new games because they never played them, originally. So,
yeah, that's true. Excellent points. Yes, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's definitely a lot of remakes in this collection. But anyway, let's start talking about them. And the first one that we've got on our list is Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which is back on the Switch. Now, this is a new game, right? This is not a remake of the previous titles, from what I gathered. Correct?
No, it is. It's the Game Boy Advanced.
It is
Uh,
okay. So it is straight into a remake. Okay.
It
I
wasn't
don't
very
think.
clear, and like even in the press release, it was a little vague. But I think
Mm,
they sent out like maybe a social media post today that I saw, and it was a
mhm.
bit more clear that like, yes, this is from the Game Boy Advance, and it's revamped, or something like that. But
Okay. I was excited. I thought it was a new one. I didn't play the Game Boy Advance one, so it will be new to me. As you were saying, Trev, some of these games will be new to people who haven't tried them before. So yeah. Kirk, did you have something to say about Mario versus Donkey Kong? What did you think?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of funny that you haven't played it, whereas I, who am not a huge fan of the Mario games and don't play all of them, I did play this one
Mhm.
and really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's going to warrant a second purchase from me. It has some very clever puzzles and some excellent mechanics, and that sort of like lighthearted approach to gaming that you would get out of a Nintendo puzzle game. But and like I said, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I can't remember if I completed it, but I don't know that there's going to be enough there for me to pick it up again. So I'll
Mm,
be curious to see how I feel and what else is out there when it comes out to see if I decide to do it.
yeah. Fair enough. What about you, Trev?
it's interesting. I did not play this one, even though I've played probably four of the games in that series.
Hmm.
I started on the DS, so and I loaded up one of the DS games after they announced it to get in the mood, and then I'm playing it, and I'm like, wait a minute, does this even control the same? Because I think with the DS games, you're controlling the minis with the stylus. I think in this one, Mario, you have direct control.
Mm, that's what it looked like. Yeah.
So even though it's like that formula, this
Mhm.
is how it originated. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, this is going to be exciting for me, as a series fan to experience this game in HD.
Mm. So is this the first in the series, the original, the Game Boy
As
Advance
far as I
version?
know, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
Okay.
yeah, the
I
Game Boy
think
Advance.
maybe its origins were in the Game Boy remake of Donkey Kong, but in
Mm.
terms of the style of play, this is the first as far as I know.
Cool. I mean, I think it looks good. I played, I think, like you, Trev, I played the others in the series, but not this one. And yeah, that's why I thought it was new because it did look so different. You're not controlling the little toys, you're controlling Mario. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Justin, what did you have to say about this one?
Yeah, kind of similar to Kirk. I'm not sure if there's enough to compel me. I would have to see maybe a bit more of maybe some additions or maybe some extra content or something. And I'm curious what they're going to be charging for it. Uh,
Mm.
That's
but
a fair point because some of the portable games that have been remade for Switch were only $39.99.
yeah, yeah. So
Mm.
like $40 would be kind of the maximum I would be comfortable with, and especially and with like new content. I would put this kind of in a similar vein as like Captain Toad games, and Captain Toad games to me are like tremendous value for $40,
Hmm.
uh, but it's kind of those real fun mini games, but just really cool puzzles. So um, I am still like tempted to check it out. And the original has been a while since I've played that one. I've played a lot of minis, March Again,
Hmm.
minis, all of that stuff, DS ones. So
Yeah.
like it's got a I've got a soft spot for the series. So
Yeah.
we'll
It's a
see.
fun series. And this one has like co-op play, right? Which looks pretty cool. I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
the others
yeah,
have that. Yeah.
they did highlight that the two people could
Mm.
play it at once. I will
Yeah.
say though, Justin, you're going to be disappointed to find out the pre-sale for it up at the eShop is for $49.99
Ooh,
US.
49. Wow. Okay.
interesting.
Well,
Not
it's
cheap.
still less than 59. I mean, split the
Yeah,
difference.
True.
we'll
True,
we'll see.
true.
Maybe them adding some of the co-op and some other thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's enough
Yeah.
to compel my.
Mm. I didn't write a date for that one, sorry. I don't know when that one's available.
February
February
6th.
16th.
February
Yeah.
16th. Okay, cool. All right, that sounds good. Well, let's move on to Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which I think maybe Kirk and I have spoken about recently, semi recently. But now we have a January 18th release date and a pre-order bonus. Justin, what did you have to say about this one?
Yeah, I love Metroidvanias, and it looks like they're really zeroing in on something like that with
Mm-hmm.
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. The time control mechanics, bringing some of the stuff that they had in the 3D Prince of Persia series, like Sands of Time, that looks really interesting to me. And if it's kind of similar to Metroid Dread, where it's bringing in maybe some unique perspectives in some of the boss battles and some good challenge. I felt like Metroid Dread was a really good challenge with the bosses and enemies as you went throughout. So I'm you know I'm fairly cool on a lot of stuff that Ubisoft is doing with their games. They have not been quite what they used to be, but this is looking like it may be what I might pick up with theirs.
Hopefully a return to form for
Yeah.
Ubisoft and for Prince of Persia. Yeah, we've said in the past it's a long-running series. Looks like it's sort of returning to its roots a little bit in the side-scrolling kind of action style.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it looks nice. Anyway, we'll see how that one goes in January. Comes out in January. The next one, which I know Kirk is very excited about because you got you got a hands-on preview of this one not so long ago. It's Super Crazy Rhythm Castle, which I think we
Yes.
did. Did we not know the date previously? Did we, the release date for this
We
one?
did not. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they announced November 14th. So,
Mm.
yeah, definitely going to be looking for that one very quickly. It's going to make a great idea for holiday gifts for people right around that time. So, I will encourage our listeners to pay attention to that and check it out when it comes out.
Yeah, yeah, it looks super fun, super crazy, just like the title implies. Yeah. Did you have anything to add to that? I know we spoke about it a while back, but anything to convince people?
Yeah, I would say that if you're not a fan of rhythm games, don't be put off by the title. Although it has rhythm, obviously components. I think there are 30 tracks of musical, and they did announce some of the. They said that they were going to have some Konami music from previous games in it, and they announced I think four. I didn't take notes on what they were, but so now we know some of the songs. Most of them are original, but there's a
Mm,
lot more to do than just tapping buttons in time with the markers that are coming down the screen. So it's going to be a good party game. Definitely more fun if you're playing it with some friends. So do check it out. I think
mm.
you'll be surprised by it.
Yeah, that one looks really good. So we've got about 2 months until that one hits us. So we look forward to hearing more, especially when you get to playing it, because I hope it meets those expectations. But you've had hands-on time with it, so I think you know what you're talking about a little bit, right? So,
Yeah, two
yeah,
levels. So I can't imagine gameplay is going to change too much beyond that. Just get a little more difficult and a little more unique.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, it sounds super fun. The next one that we will talk about is one we did already know about, which is Super Mario RPG, which is another remake we know, but it is a classic title from the Super Nintendo era. And this one is coming out November 17th, so just after Super Crazy Rhythm Castle. Now we saw a little bit more of what's in the game. Trev, did you want to talk to what we saw in the direct?
Um, yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to say, in terms of remakes,
Hmm.
this is what I like to see. I don't want to see necessarily a game remade that was out, within the past decade. This is pushing 30 years. It's, well, I think 27 years
Hmm.
since the SNES game came out. So, for some gamers, I mean, they weren't alive when this game was
Yeah,
released. So
yeah,
it's going to be brand spanking new. So that's what I'm excited, to see them dipping back into, their older catalog. Um,
yeah. That's a good
I,
point. Yeah.
I guess my big dilemma, I don't know how interesting this is to listeners, but I was thinking about this because this game and Chrono Trigger, on the SNES, these were kind of what got me into the RPG genre. And I'm thinking, oh, you know what? This is probably game of the year, like for me, like top three.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, wait, do I really want to do that for a remake when we have like a new Zelda and a new Mario platformer? And I feel like I'm already wrestling with it. I haven't even played it yet. I'm fretting how I'm going to be when we do our game of the year podcast.
Yeah, that will be a dilemma for future Trev.
Uh, but no, it looks good, and it looks like they are, polishing it up. Just in terms of, because the genre has advanced over the decades, in terms of controls and things like that. So I think this will be a nice one for people to get into, especially if all they've ever played are like the Mario and Luigi games on DS or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think I've mentioned previously that it was never released in Australia, so I have not been privy to this game in the past.
Oh.
So it is new for me, even though I know a lot about it. Obviously, I've seen gameplay videos, I've read reviews, I've followed it over the years, but never played it myself. So it will be quite a new experience for me. So I'm very much looking forward to it. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I kind of similar experience to Trev in the sense that it really did kind of get me into the RPG genre. You know, I hadn't really played a lot of obviously Final Fantasy had been out on earlier platforms, original Nintendo and things like that, but had not really dipped my toe into any of those until Chrono Trigger, and then Super Mario RPG. And I remember renting Super Mario RPG, and I don't know if my brothers and we played it, and we got to a fairly close to the end boss, and it was a really brutal battle. I thought it was on like a back of a pirate ship or something. Anyways, I can't fully remember, but we loved it, but we never owned the game. I think we just ended up renting it some, but I am excited to finally beat it and play through the whole thing.
Yeah, you can. Finally tick that off your list.
So.
Conquering Super Mario RPG. Yeah.
It was so tough renting RPGs back in the day because it's like, oh, you got to get it back to the store. You get a late fee. I want to beat it.
I was thinking about that recently, how crazy it was. We had to pay these exorbitant sort of fees. And now you just stream stuff. It's just, yeah. Anyway, sorry, bit of a side note there. But yeah, you're right. You had this time limit, this time crunch to get it done. Otherwise, you'd have to return it and get it again or whatever. So or pay the fees. Yeah. So it'd be really good. It does look amazing. It looks like they've done a pretty great job of remastering it. Yeah, it looks really fantastic. And I think you're right, Trev, that when you remake a game and it looks significantly different or improved, a bit like, what was it? Was it Link's Awakening on the Switch that they remade in a different style?
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Love that
So
game.
it looked completely different and lovely. But it's also a terrific game. So even if you had played it previously, very much very strong incentive to replay. So especially because it's
that's a good point too, because I love the original visual style of the SNES game. It sort of had that, like the original Donkey Kong Country games, that sort of look. But this is going to look great too. I mean, in HD, I think it's really going to pop, and to be able to play it in handheld mode is just awesome.
Yeah, so cool. Definitely looking forward to that one in November. Another 2 months away. Can't wait for that one to come out. Next, we will move on to something called Another Code Recollection, which I believe is 2 games in one, and it's a DS and Wii title. I don't know a lot about the history of these, to be honest, but they looked very interesting. Justin, what did you have to say about this one?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember during the DS era, there were a lot of games. I don't know if this was specifically labeled as such on the box art, but there was like touch generations games. They put this little yellow badge on the box art, and it was for a lot of the games that would specifically utilize some of the DS's unique features, touchscreen, stylus, and maybe even microphone. There's some very unique things that the DS did, but the other code games were really fun. I kind of put like the Hotel Dusk games in that same vein. They were like these mystery games that had puzzles. They're different than like the Professor Layton games, but
that's where my mind just went to just then, actually. Yeah,
they're more similar. Do you remember on the Wii there were a lot of like mystery / hidden object games where you'd use the Wii to point and find objects, but then there's also like a story, and you'd progress through things. Like, it wasn't strictly hidden object. There were other puzzles and things you're doing. So it's kind of in that genre, if that's a genre, um, but yeah, just fun puzzles. Katie had mentioned that one during the direct, like, oh, this one looks cool. Like, she was seeing it really is kind of a really nice upgrade to the visuals that they're doing with it.
Mm.
Over the DS version. The DS version was kind of these, 2D vignettes, and it wasn't really that much of a graphical showcase other than just the art style. But man, they've really done a good job with it from what we saw in the trailer. So, anyways, I think I don't know if I ended up playing the sequel to it, but I'm excited about this, and I think it may be for people that like those types of games. Even maybe if you've liked a Layton game but have not heard of Nether Code or Hotel Dusk, and might be up your alley.
Yeah, it definitely looks. It does. It looks really nice, and I haven't played them before. I've definitely played Layton, so if it's anything like that, then count me in. Yeah, so that one's out January 19th, so early next year. Looking forward to hearing more about that one. It is a remake, I suppose you could say. So that's another one to add to the list of what we're saying right from the outset. But the next one is a completely new title. And again, we sort of knew this was coming. We had a very small teaser in the last direct, right? I think it was. And this is for the Peach game, which we now know is called Princess Peach Showtime. And we have a date as well. It's coming out March 22nd in 2024. And I didn't really know what to expect from the small kind of snippet we'd seen like a couple months ago. Now we know it's about Peach and her toad companions going to a show or like a musical type of theater, and it's been taken over by bad guys, Wicked Grape and the Sour Bunch. And Peach can take on all different kinds of forms. I really liked that aspect. I thought that was really cool and neat that she could become like a sword fighter Peach. She can become the Detective Peach, like Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu.
Yeah. Yeah. And the cook, I don't know how to, was it Patissier? I probably spelled that wrong in our notes there, but it wasn't on the screen, so I couldn't write it down. And Kung Fu Peach, which looked really cool as well.
Yeah.
So I thought, I mean, it's a different style, which is good, because originally I thought it'd be maybe like Luigi's Mansion kind of style, or some kind of Mario RPG kind of style. I wasn't really sure, but it looks like it's a completely kind of different take on the Marioverse, I guess you could say, which, yeah, it could be really fun. I hope it is really fun. It's definitely looks nice. What do you guys think? What is Justin? What do you think?
Yeah, it looks, because they announced it in the last Nintendo Direct, but it didn't show much of any gameplay, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they really showed off. I feel like it could maybe fit in a similar vein as some of the other Mario spin-offs, like maybe like Luigi's Mansion, where there's still some really compelling, unique things they're doing gameplay wise. It's not just like you guys remember they did Super Princess Peach, so she has been the star of a game previously, but that was kind of like a platformer, and so that can feel like it's kind of maybe more derivative of like, oh, they're just going to make a platformer and have Peach be the main protagonist, and so I like that. Like Luigi's Mansion, it is such a different game than Mario platformers, right? I feel like that whole series has kind of come into its own. So I hope that something similar can be happening here with Princess Peach Showtime, where it's got unique enough gameplay elements that it does feel like it's its own new type of game, or a new genre or something that they can build a series around. I'm still very curious, like how some people are like, oh, is it just a bunch of mini games, or it seems like it's more depth than that. So and it is kind of similar, Nintendo adding like upgrades and these core new abilities. I have to think that like it's not just going to be a little backdrop on a stage show that's going to be the only part of the level you're playing. I feel like there's got to be more than even what they're showing, but I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully. That's a good question and a good point. I think definitely the patisserie kind of like the baker Peach
Yeah.
looked like a mini game, just because she was putting like icing on a cake type of thing. But
Yeah.
maybe that's just part of the level. I don't know. And then,
Yeah.
but when she was Sword Fighter Peach, she was going up some stairs or something, going around,
Yeah.
up a sort of, I don't know, around a building or something. That looked more like a level, like a proper level. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully
And
that's the
it
case.
says it's an adventure game, and so I
Mm,
feel like it's. And I didn't actually look at the price for this, but if it's 60, my guess is it's not going to be just a collection of mini games.
yeah, good point. Yeah, Trev, do you have anything to add to that? What do you think about Peach, Princess Peach Showtime?
Yeah, what's funny because Justin mentioned it was on the DS, right? Super Princess Peach back in the day,
Mm,
and
Yeah.
hmm
that's what initially I thought this was going to be maybe like that because we saw so little of it. We didn't have anything to digest,
hmm
so I wasn't really interested. But and I'm not maybe I'd still like to see more, but just in terms of the visual style, I really like the setting and the aesthetic, and um, yeah, it spoke to me, because it's not just this kind of generic Mushroom Kingdom type backdrop. You're on this stage like type setup, and you got
mm,
these characters and props, and it just seemed like it had a lot of personality.
Yeah.
So that's what drew me in as I was watching the footage. I'm like, wow, this looks cool. It's reminded me of a couple games. Do you remember Gemma that game? I think Roger recommended it. It was like you were like puppets, like working on a show.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
that gesture
Yes.
game or something. I can't. The name escapes me, but I kind of like that setting, and it seems like maybe
Yeah.
it's kind of picking that up.
Yeah,
With
that's
bigger
true.
production
Yeah.
values. So
Yeah. 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 I think
I'll have
it's
to see more, but it does come out right around my anniversary. So if it looks good, maybe that'll be a
mm,
gift. I think it's around your birthday too, right,
it
Gemma? So
is. It is. I think it's the same date, isn't it? Didn't we decide that was?
it's pretty close. I think we're within the day. So
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it comes out right before my birthday, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I think it looks fun. I definitely want to see more of it. I love, yeah, like you said, Justin, that it is like Luigi's Mansion in the sense that Luigi's Mansion was so different to Mario's games, and this looks like a very different, like a departure from
Yeah.
Mario's games, which is good. I think you don't want to be derivative again. I liked Super, whatever,
Yeah.
what was it? Super Princess Peach.
Yeah. I like that. Not to take away from that game, but yeah.
Yeah, it was fun, but it was just a platformer in at its simplest. Yeah, that's okay. Cool. So yeah, we'll probably see more. I'm guessing. I mean, March is still 6 months away, so there's
and
definitely
credit
time.
to the game for being not a port, for being a genuinely new game.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was.
So
It
that
was
one
maybe.
stands out.
It was
Mm.
one of the biggest brand new games that they showed off here. Yeah. So.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly, which is really cool. So, looking forward to that one. The next one to talk about is another, well, it's a collection, another collection, which, gosh, we've had a lot of collections this year. And it is another Tomb Raider collection. Or actually, it was a Lara Croft collection previously, wasn't it? So, this is a Tomb Raider collection. I think even when the Lara Croft collection came out, I even said, why don't they do a Tomb Raider collection? Here we are. So,
You called it.
yeah. So this one's coming out in February, Valentine's Day, actually. We've got Tomb Raiders 1 to 3. Kirk, what do you think about this? Are you excited? Do you think it's a good thing?
I am excited. I do think it's a good thing.
Mhm.
These a lot of the Tomb Raider games that have been released lately, I think I've said before, I don't feel were really in the spirit of the originals. That doesn't mean they're
Mhm.
bad. It just means that they kind of felt more like a lot of the other action games. Whereas when the Tomb Raider games came out, they really felt like their own thing. There was nothing else like them. And I don't know that other people have done them this way since, in that they really focused on the exploration a lot more than the combat. It was about figuring out the easiest way to get from here to there without setting off this trap or purposely setting off this trap. And you had to fight some wolves, dinosaurs, other people. I mean, all kinds of things come at you. But they had a very distinct personality, and that has kind of been lost, not only with the Tomb Raider games, but with other games, these sort of like third person action games. I think that going back to these will remind a lot of people about how cool they were when they originally came out. And I
Mm,
like that you can play them with the original graphics or with more modernized. The modernized graphics certainly don't bring them up to par with what we're seeing in this type of game, on other systems and even the Switch today. But they will look better. They'll be more accessible. I can imagine that there will be times when I'm going to flip that Switch and go back to the way they used to look on my. I don't even know what Mac I had back then, a 9600, maybe an Apple 9600 I was playing these on.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, looking forward to it. And as I've said before, they're coming from Aspire, who originally brought the games to the Mac, and they do fantastic work. So
nice.
you're going to get a good system, a good game that will play well.
Cool. That sounds good. Yeah, okay. Thank you. I mean, I've never played no, sorry, I played the first Tomb Raider. Um, I didn't have a PlayStation, but I hired one from the video shop actually. I worked at a video shop actually, so it was free. So I took one home and played Tomb Raider. So I have played the first one. So I like the idea of a collection of 3 games, and I definitely like the idea of toggling between the visuals. I think that's a really neat aspect. Yeah. So we'll see how that one goes. But pre-orders are actually open now as well. Trev, did you have anything to add to Tomb Raider collections?
Yeah, I was actually Kirk and I were messaging a little bit after they announced it, and just kind of recollecting on how much we enjoyed those games back in the day. The thing that really impressed me with Tomb Raider, because I did play it, as a kid at launch, and that style of gameplay, we take that for granted now. But the original Tomb Raider came out the same year as Super Mario 64, so it was like I was discovering this whole new style of game, and
Mm.
yeah, I really liked it. And the second one especially, I have memories of my buddy and I just powering through that.
Yeah,
I'm
it
kind of
was the
glad.
best of the three.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm not knocking the first because I really like that too. But yeah, we just a lot of nostalgia, and that's why I'm not sure if I want to review these because I feel like that could kind of color it a little bit. But I'm also
Mm.
glad they're not coming out till February because I'm like, man, they're not small games, and I feel like I'm already behind the 8 ball, so to speak. So I gotta catch up on reviews proper and mag work and things before I can
Mm.
delve
Yeah.
into the Tomb Raider trilogy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's been a busy year actually. I was gonna say a busy period, but it's actually been this whole year has been busy. So yeah, and it's not over yet. We've still got 3 months, so yeah. Plus we've got Detective Pikachu Returns, which is coming out in October. So you have to make room for that, Trev, as well. Um,
Ah, I know. I'm gonna end up doing like I did last year. In the last 3 months, I'm gonna buy like all the big games I didn't get over the
mm,
course of the year. I'll be like, I
mhm.
gotta catch up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, and I still haven't got Pokemon Legends Arceus. I never caught up with that one, so there's one I still need
Oh
to.
wow,
Yeah.
you're more behind than me, Gemma. I was worried I didn't get Pikmin yet, but at
Did you
least
get
that's from this year.
True, but did you get Scarlet or Violet though from last year?
Yeah, we can edit this part out.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Maybe when
Um,
the DLC comes out.
yeah,
Hey,
maybe
the
that'll be.
first one came out this week, so
That's true.
Oh,
That's
well, there you go.
no excuse. No excuse, Trev.
Uh,
But yeah, Detective Pikachu Returns. It's coming out. This is just a couple of weeks away, actually, October the 6th. So we've kind of mentioned it before because there was a Pokemon Direct not so long ago, or not a Direct, whatever they call the Pokemon Presents ones.
yeah.
But Justin was not on that show. So what did you think about Pokemon? Pikachu Returns. This game, yeah, it's. I think it looks amazing, and I know Trev's pretty interested. But what do you think?
I already have it pre-ordered. So
Nice. Okay, that answers that question.
I did. I don't often pre-order games that far in advance, but I had some credit that was expiring, I think, at Best Buy, and so I was like, you know what, and you can do pre-orders with the credit you have now, even if the credit's going to expire before then. So I'm like,
That's
yeah,
cool.
like I know I want this game. Yeah, I'm going to pre-order that. Um, so I'm excited about it. I did really like the first one. I do again like. I mean, video games it's nice. It's nice to have a game where you know what the gameplay is, and it fits into your wheelhouses, right? Like, oh yeah, I like a platformer. I like,
Mm.
whatever gameplay style you're wanting at that time. But I feel like Detective Pikachu, that first game, it's just this very different style of game. Yeah, there's kind of this mystery. There's dialogue. You're interviewing characters. You're trying to find clues, and then it looks like in this one you're having a bit more kind of exploration and using some like abilities that these Pokemon have, and you had a little bit of that in the first one. But I don't know. It's a I like unique types of games. Like again, that Super or the Princess Peach Showtime. Like hey, let's try and find new ways to play in these worlds, and so anyways, I'm excited about it. And if you guys haven't played the first one, I think you certainly wouldn't need to buy the first one. I think they said there's even like a whole vignette or video at the beginning that will kind of catch you up to speed. There's not a whole lot that happens. You're still, I think, searching for um, Tim's dad or something, but
Yeah,
in
sounds
this
like
one.
it.
But
Yeah.
I like if you've wanted to, like, I know Trev, you've been getting more into the Pokemon games, lately, and if you've wanted to have more like tangible examples of like humans and Pokemon interacting and utilizing some of those unique traits that they establish with Pokemon, in each new generation, you see a lot of that in these games, and they just add a lot of personality and like, oh yeah, this Pokemon has that ability to float or to do this other thing, and you see that like a bit more display in the Detective Pikachu game. So I'm excited to check it out and play.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I definitely am excited about this one. Looks really good. I'm considering pre-ordering it as well, although I don't have any expiring credits, so maybe I just will wait until October the 6th.
Do
Do you
you have
think
the Detective Pikachu amiibo, Gemma?
uh is there one? Is there a
Yeah.
Detective Pikachu amiibo? I should
Yeah.
have that. I don't. I
I
have
wonder if they're going to put it back on the shelf.
Wasn't it
oh,
a big one? Wasn't it fairly large?
oh yeah, no, it was. You're right.
Oh,
Yeah. I have
yeah,
the regular Pikachu one. The Smash Brothers one, I guess. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't have that one. That now I need it though, I think. Now that you've reminded
It's
me.
going to be a little pricier just because it is bigger, but
Yeah, probably. That's all right. I'll look into it. Do you think, just a little side note, would you have rated the Direct higher if games like Peach Showtime and Detective Pikachu Returns were newly announced games? Like, we kind of already knew this was coming, but if this was a surprise announcement that this game was coming out, and same with Peach, would that have changed your overall score, do you think?
Yeah,
yes.
I think
Yeah.
so for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It may have been hard for like Detective Pikachu to go unnoticed, since I mean
Yeah.
we knew about it several years ago when they first announced
Mm,
it, and then
true. Yeah.
but like they had the Princess Peach one, like it was only just last direct we heard about it, and it was like a screenshot, and it's like, really, we couldn't,
Mm.
or like you couldn't have waited 3 months.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't wait, because that was just such a tease, and it was such like, there was no information, just, "Hey, here's a Peach game," but
Yeah, yeah,
no
it
more
felt
information. So,
Uh,
yeah, interesting. Yeah, okay. Well, the next game is, new and a surprise, and it's out now, and it's called Trombone Champ, and I believe at least one of us has played it already. So, what's your hands-on impression, Kirk, with Trombone Champ? This looks hilarious from the trailer, from the direct anyway.
Yeah, maybe this one is my Switch swan song.
Yeah, okay.
This game's been out for a while. It went viral, right? It was just like this little game that someone created, and it exploded on Steam on the PC. I know it's also available for the Mac.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a rhythm game, except unlike most where you're playing piano keys or you're holding down guitar strings, you're literally just playing a trombone to
Uh-huh.
some of the weirdest collection of songs I've seen in a game like this. I should preface, I played trombone for
Ah.
6 years. I think Trev, you did too, right? Is that what you said?
yeah, not nearly as long as you, but
Oh,
I
wow.
I did play trombone. I was a little
That's cool.
kid, and it was the hugest instrument for a tiny kid. I used to smacking people on the bus trying to get it in, but
Well,
that's a
that was
story
the
for another
benefit of
day.
the trombone. It's the case. You'd hold it horizontally as you walk down the bus and just smack people in the head as you worked your way back.
Looking like a gangster.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone loves the marching band bullies. But yeah, I played through from sixth grade, I think, through although I know all the way up through my senior year of high school, and then I stopped.
Right.
But yeah, there are different ways to play. Basically, what happens is you get the streams of the notes flying down. They come from the right to the left side of the screen, and you have to get your marker to land on it, and you hold the trigger button down on your controller to blow, basically. So you're just trying to time that, but the control of I was using the gyroscope in a pro controller, which probably isn't the way to do it. But you're trying to keep your marker on top of the stream as it's coming down. But the great thing about it is if you miss, the trombone goes out of pitch. So you're constantly hitting the wrong notes and coming in wrong. And if you're set up with multiple players, then you have all those trombones trying to match pitch. And it's very funny. I don't know how long it's going to be funny. After a
Yeah.
while, you're either going to get so good that you just sound great, or you get tired of it. But it's a
Mhm.
blast when you play it with new people, I think, especially. And I'm pleased to say that you can start with two trombones, a basic one or a bass trombone. And I will argue till I'm dead that the bass trombone is the second best sounding wind instrument there is,
What is the
behind
first?
the baritone saxophone, easily,
Okay,
hands
okay,
down.
cool.
As far as I know, there is no Barry Sax champ game out there. So for
Not yet, not yet.
champ.
Yeah, okay, excellent. Trev, have you already got it, or are you just interested, or think it's crazy? What do you think?
No, I'm not. In fact, I was joking with Kirk because he mentioned it when we were
Mhm.
talking about the review queue. I'm like, hey, have fun with that because the trailer did not impress me. I think of the trombone is great for like an ensemble, like if you're in an orchestra, but just as a solo instrument, and it might just be going back to my childhood, remembering how I sounded practicing. But I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work for me. But you
Yeah,
know,
too
we'll see
soon.
what happens. I'm looking forward to our coverage because I'm sure Kirk can appreciate it more with his
Yeah,
years of playing.
yeah. So are
Yeah.
you reviewing it, Kirk?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going
awesome.
to. Yeah.
I
And I will
can't
say
wait to
one of the things about it is, as Trev kind of alluded to, the trombone is not an instrument you really want to listen to on by itself for a long period of time. But the
Mm.
developers knew that, and it's got such a comical approach to it, and the way the trombone sounds. Although I should say, whoever's playing this, assuming that this was all recorded by someone, and then they're just modulating the pitch based on where you're at, is really good. So if you're hitting the notes, this is a quality trombone player we're listening to.
Nice.
But yeah, it's not like Rock Band where the whole thing is to sound great and look cool doing it. You're just meant to, occasionally look bad, occasionally sound bad, and just hope you manage to get a decent rating.
Yeah, it does look fun. I'm tempted. If there was a demo, I definitely would try it. I think it's about what, $15 or something. It's not
Yeah.
super expensive, yeah. But
Oh
like
yeah.
you said, how long is it going to be funny? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have some people coming over. We're having a Godzilla movie marathon going on right now, of course. And Sam's bringing his
Nice.
friends over, so he said that next time they come over, they're all going to pick it up. They're all in marching band. They're all going to play, and I'll know by then how good of a party game I think it'll be.
Brilliant. Yes, I cannot wait to hear from that. I'll wait to hear from you before I decide then on whether to get it or not.
Fair enough.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, this one I knew straight away Trev would be interested in because it's an NES reimagining, I think they called it, and it is Contra, Operation Galuga. Am I saying that correctly? And
You are. I keep wanting to say Galuga, but it is
yeah,
Galuga.
that's yeah, that's what I thought in my head. Yeah, so Contra is a bit of a classic title, right? Um,
It
yeah, what
is.
do you think? Mm,
Well, Contra is one of my favorite NES games,
mhm,
and first of all, I just plug it if anyone doesn't want to dig their NES out of their attic or whatever. They do have the Contra Anniversary Collection on the Switch,
mhm,
which has Contra and Super C and others as well. But yeah, I'm excited for this, for the new features, the visual style. Again, a lot of these remakes, I need to see more with the updated look because the NES had that iconic pixel art. But
mm, mhm,
yeah, I'm excited for the new enemies and stages, and there's going to be like a 4-player mode, which sounds pretty cool, and difficulty options, which Contra was kind of the game I associate with the Konami code.
Yep.
Where you can
yeah,
get the 30 lives because that was just is so hard while you're learning it. And of course, like a lot of those NES games, once you learn them, you can run through them quick, but it just took so long to learn. So I'm
mm.
glad they have those features for players that are coming into it fresh.
Like, so we're saying it's NES hard, right?
Mhm.
Well, I would hope if it's going to be, if it's a reimagining, it would have to be.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're going to tick off
yeah,
the fans because that's
mhm,
what Contra is associated with. But the trick with that is you always want to feel every time you fail, oh, I can get a little bit better.
mhm,
I can get a little bit further, and that's what the good NES hard games did. Games like Contra or its sequel Super C, all these other ones. So
mhm.
um, yeah, running gunner. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think there's a release date yet pinned down, but
Yeah, I didn't write one down, so maybe there wasn't one. I don't know, actually. Mm,
it's got to be
yeah.
better than the last Contra game. Which did you cover that, Kirk? I think we saw it at E3.
Yeah, we did. I remember we had a demo for that. Were both of us in there for that? I know I sat and played it for a bit, and it wasn't very well received. I don't think we reviewed it, but I remember other people not liking it.
It was a little underwhelming to me.
Yeah.
What was that one called?
I'm sorry.
Oh, what was that? What was the title of that one?
You would ask. I'm not even sure I remember.
Ah, okay. Contra something something something.
It wasn't. It wasn't like the. It was like Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue Corp.
Oh, thank you.
Um,
Yeah,
Yep.
mhm.
and
Yep.
it was an M-rated game, I think, which I guess makes sense because I mean you are shooting stuff, but it's supposed to be like Aliens, so I don't know. But it wasn't in that running gun style. It was more of like a not a third person, but like a mix of top down. I don't know. It just
Yeah, it,
Mm,
it kind of shifted perspectives, and it had more of a 3D style to it, even though you were kind of mostly playing it in a well, no, yeah, because you could bounce around to different areas. Um, yeah, boy, I got to remind
it,
myself.
it just ended up feeling kind of muddled to me. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
it's,
mm,
it's not what I thought of when I think of Contra.
yeah. Well, they can fix that by bringing back the original in a reimagined format. Bring it back to fans, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and
Well, I
looking at the screenshots, I mean, even though the style is very different, I can kind
mm,
of I can kind of see the original level in my head. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, they just changed the background and this is a little different. So I'm
that's cool.
hoping as we see more, I'll make more of those connections. So
Yeah.
cautiously optimistic.
Okay. Sounds good. Excellent. Thank you. The next one is called Unicorn Overlord, which immediately made me think of you, Kirk. Not because of unicorns or overlords, but because it looks like a fun, a fun game in your style. Which is, would you call this a JRPG? It's more like a. Is this a tactical? What was this? What's the official genre for this one?
I
Do we
don't
know?
know. I really don't know. Yeah, I think they're calling it a tactical fantasy RPG.
Mm-hmm.
And my interest in it is mainly driven from the fact that it's developed by Vanillaware,
Right.
who did a game I never played called Odin Sphere. I don't think it was ever released on a Nintendo system, but then they had a game recently on the Switch called 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a game that I had no idea what I was going into when I started playing it, and absolutely loved it. So I'm going to trust Vanillaware to give us another game with. I could see from what they showed us that the visuals look fantastic, like they normally have this sort of like hand drawn, painted feel to them.
Mm.
Characters are all very detailed, but the 13 Sentinels had this excellent combat system. It was mech based, it was real time strategy. So I don't think that's what's happening here, but it was something I hadn't really seen before and loved, and it worked from start to finish. So I'm excited about this game because I anticipate they're going to do the exact same thing, just within a slight turn on the gameplay. So really
Mm.
looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it looks graphically, like you said, it looks fantastic. I love the style of it. Yeah, it's something special. I think the way they've done the artwork. So hopefully that resonates like with players, and hopefully the gameplay suits that style and matches your expectations as well. But that one's out March the 8th, so 2024. It's about 6 months away. And that's a completely new. This is completely new, right? This is not a remake of any kind.
Correct.
Yeah.
I believe so. And I hadn't seen anything about this announced beforehand either, so I wasn't expecting it, and realized about halfway through the presentation on it that I was going to be picking this one up.
Yeah. Nice. Excellent. Back to remakes. This one is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which, I mean, I'm not super surprised. I'm surprised they haven't done it sooner, to be honest, but I'm excited because Luigi's Mansion is awesome. And this one comes out summer. There's no official date yet, but it's summer 2024. So that's a ways off, actually. But Kirk, since we were just talking to you anyway, what's your thoughts on this one? Have you played Luigi's Mansion 2
Oh
previously?
yeah. I played all the Luigi's Mansions. In fact, Justin, remind me, is this the game when we were at E3 that they had us all playing at the Nintendo presentation in like a tented area outside of Staples Center? Yeah, on the 3DS, we got to demo this back in the day.
Cool.
This was before I was working with Pure Nintendo, but I had met Justin and some others at I think the event the year before. Then we met again. But yeah, I love this game. I love all the Luigi's Mansion games, so I was very happy to see this. And Tyranny, my wife, played through 3 with Max, who's my youngest son. And I didn't see if this one is going to have multiplayer. Did they say if it will?
Yeah.
Well, it has some sort of multiplayer component. Justin, do you know what that is? I wasn't sure if it was extra modes, like a multiplayer campaign, like section, or if it was part of the actual gameplay for the story mode. Do you know?
Yeah, I believe it's gonna have. I believe Luigi Mansion 2 had like those towers that you would kind of go through, and I believe it's gonna have all of the same. Hunt and Ghost with up to 4 players online, different multiplayer modes. So yeah, the Scare Scraper mode. Yeah, that was the big one that I remember. So yeah, all of that should be in this. It's interesting they dropped the Dark Moon subtitle.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Luigi's Mansion 2, I think, was called Luigi's Mansion 2 in other regions, but then I think when it launched in the US, it was Luigi's Mansion. I don't know if they even dropped the 2. Was it just Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And they do mention Dark Moon in the description for it on the eShop, so it's definitely got the same content.
Yeah, so in North America, it did not have the 2 in it. It was Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, known in Japan, Australia, Europe. So basically every other region, it was known as Luigi's Mansion 2.
So that is so funny, because when they showed it as Luigi's Mansion 2, even though I'm in Australia, I thought, oh, isn't it Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon? So that's weird.
Yeah. But it's a fantastic one. I'm excited about it. I really did enjoy the 3D effects with Luigi's Mansion 2 on the 3DS. Yeah. So that's something that I think I'll miss. Like even some of the boss battles, like that spider boss, where it goes further back into the it's kind of this long corridor that goes further in and then coming back. Like it worked really well with the 3D effect. So I think that's I'm going to miss that. And it's kind of funny. Like Luigi's Mansion has a history of stereoscopic 3D. Like even the original Luigi's Mansion, they were working on a stereoscopic 3D option for the GameCube to potentially have Luigi's Mansion be in stereoscopic 3D, and then they got to fully realize it with the sequel many years later.
Cool.
I don't know, like Luigi's Mansion in 3D. I hope they can eventually revisit that stereoscopic effect in some way, in a way that's so comfortable, or allows people the option, because I don't know. This game was more than most designed around the 3D effect, but.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that will be missed. I mean, it's still a good-looking game, and I think Luigi's Mansion 3 has been very popular on the Switch, so hopefully that gives players a go at it on the Switch. Yeah, I mean, you can't say some games. You can say it's nice to play in handheld mode, like Super Mario RPG, but we had this one in handheld mode previously, so that's not exactly a feature that we're excited about. But still, it's a good game. I can't remember how old is the original. How old is that? Because Trev was saying earlier about games being remade within 10 years. Is this one 10 years old?
2013, came out.
Ooh. Does it pass the test, Trev, or is it too soon?
It's borderline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's gonna come out in 2024, right? So
True. It'll be 11 by then.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
Yeah. Now you're all turned around on the subject. Okay. Well, that's good. Nice. So we did mention Amiibo briefly earlier, just randomly, Detective Pikachu, but there are a couple of new Amiibo coming out soon. And of course, I knew that Kirk would be interested in Noah and Mio from Xenoblade Chronicles, of course.
Yep, and this time I actually got a pre-order in, unless it gets canceled. So although I never was able to get Pyra and Mithra, I did get Noah and Mio, and I don't know why, because I don't play. Well, are they even in Smash Brothers? They're not, right?
Don't know. They asked. I thought they were Smash Amiibo, right? That's what the direct said. But that's a good question. They must be, or maybe they're coming.
Sora was the last one, the last character they were introduced. I don't think. I thought that was post their fighter plans. I thought that was after.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the fact that I'm asking indicates that I don't play Smash Brothers, so I have no use for them there, and I don't know that I'm going to pick up Xenoblade Chronicles 3 again anytime soon. Although I did see that scanning them gets you some benefits, like extra outfits or something else too. But yeah, they're just for my collection.
Nice.
And they're more expensive too. Ordering them was $39.99 or $40. And I think usually, like Pyra and Mithra, I believe, were only $30 or $29.99. So I don't know if the price of Amiibos are going up, or if this particular bundle of two characters just jacked up the price for some reason.
Yeah, unless they're bigger. I think there's some Splatoon Amiibo coming out in November that are bigger than usual, so they're a bit more expensive. So I don't know if that's the case, but they didn't look unusually large.
Yeah, they look normal.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, maybe they are going up like everything else. And I've ordered the Zelda Amiibo, so I'm very excited about that, and I'll add them to my collection. It's funny, though, because you said, you won't really use them as Amiibo, more like just collectibles, which is fine. That's pretty much what I do as well. But you think if they were going to release Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Amiibo, they would release them at the time, or close to the time the game was launched, so that people would use them?
Yeah, but I'm also wondering, though, if there have always been rumors, and I don't know that if it could ever happen, that Xenoblade Chronicles 10 would be released, and maybe that's something they're holding on to for the next system, which would be Amiibo compatible, and then owning any of the Xenoblade Chronicles Amiibo might bring some kind of bonus to that, too.
Yeah, true.
So hopefully that's the case.
Hopefully, yeah. A bit like Zelda. I think most Zelda Amiibo work in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
So
and Fire Emblem does that. So there's precedent.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to. I thought Justin would be interested in this. Maybe I was incorrect, but F-Zero 99 Is this one of the games that everyone keeps saying, like Metroid and F-Zero? Is that the two things that people always want to hear about? Right?
Yes, but I think there's some salt in the wounds from the F-Zero 99 announcement, because there's been a lot of, quote, insiders that have been saying that an F-Zero GX, which was probably one of the favorite F-Zero games, was going to get a remaster.
Mm.
And so when it ended up being an F-Zero 99 game, people are just like, ugh. So I am a little salty about it.
Yeah.
I did download it. I haven't played it yet, but I I like the Super Nintendo one as well, but I got into it more on the 64 F-Zero X, and then GX on the GameCube was incredible. Like, man, just an amazing game. Like, to me, they don't need to, like, just glow up the graphics with that. Don't touch anything else.
Yeah.
It's one of those few perfect video games.
Why do you know why it hasn't happened? I mean, if they've got 3 in a row kind of thing, like back in the day, and then they've stopped at the GameCube, was it not popular enough? Like, or did they just sort of concentrate on Mario Kart? Or I don't know what happened. Why not? Why not F-Zero?
Yeah, I mean, you could ask that. Yeah, with 1080, the 1080 games, or Wave Raid, some of those.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
Nintendo did go through a fundamental change after the GameCube. I think we really changed things up. Wii U and like Switch is maybe the more kind of, I hate to use that term, but hardcore gamer skewing system. Like for a while there, Nintendo was kind of typecast as like, oh, this is the casual system, fairly so. But Switch has really brought Nintendo back into the forefront, and is really like, it's bridging both of those audiences really well. Like, it still is the destination for casual gamers, or family friendly, all of that, and it's very competent in core franchises and games. Yeah, I think it probably was a sales thing, but because it is really niche. But like, remember Extreme G on 64 and GameCube, like those games that were just really fast, and just hair trigger reflex, like those are, I don't know. And F-Zero GX, you guys need to play it.
I've never
So
played it. Yeah.
yeah, it's just fantastic. Like, one of the smoothest, like, gameplay wise. I mean, 60 frames per second solid. You need it for that game.
Memories. Trev, what are you thinking about F-Zero?
I'm hesitant to talk now because the SNES one is the one I played
Is
as a
that
kid.
Yeah, well, that's the only one I'm familiar with. So, yeah.
Well, no, I did have one of the. There was a Game Boy Advance one I owned on cartridge. GP Legend maybe, but yeah, I like the style of the SNES. So for me, it was iconic seeing 99 of them.
Yeah.
Um, but it well, I haven't played it because actually when I went, my online subscription expired, so I got to renew. So I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. But it's got to be better. And I know everyone loved this game probably about me, but I couldn't get into Tetris 99. So I think F-Zero 99's got to be better. And if it is, I'm hoping it actually might get a physical release because that's what they ended up doing with Tetris. You could get like a cart with like a year of Switch Online. It was not a
Cool.
full proper like physical release, but it was
Mm,
close enough, so it would look good on your shelf.
yeah.
Um,
I lo
but I
Yeah.
gotta say, Justin, I'm pretty sure did predict F-Zero this year, so
Yeah.
he's continuing to blow me away in predictions for 2023.
I didn't want
Yeah.
to be right in this way, but
Well, give
Salty.
yourself half a point in that
that's right.
case.
There we go.
Yeah. And it is F-Zero, it is on the Switch. I
Yeah.
mean, semantics aside.
But you know what's crazy, guys? Like when they first had the Mario Kart DLC, like way back on Wii U, they had those F-Zero tracks, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, a game's got to be following."
Yep.
And here we
Mhm.
are all those years later, and
Yep.
we get F-Zero 99.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Stings. It
Uh,
stings.
Crazy.
Yeah. I've also downloaded it. I haven't tried it yet. I'll give it a go. I'm not, I mean, yeah. If I'm going to play a racing game, I'm probably going to play Mario Kart. So. But I'll give it a go. It looks pretty chaotic. That's for sure in the trailer.
I
99
do like
vehicles.
how they had that upper track, like where you could kind
Yes.
of go above.
Yes. That did look cool. Yeah, definitely interested in giving it a go. We'll see. We'll see. These 99 games are short term, right? They never last long, like Tetris and Mario, Pac-Man as well. That were they all 99
Yeah,
games? Yeah.
the Pac-Man one didn't
Oh,
last.
yeah. Mario was 35 actually, wasn't it? Was it 35 for the 35th
Yeah,
anniversary? Yeah.
forget about that.
That was fun. I enjoyed that. I did enjoy that a lot. Cool. Well, maybe next week we can talk about if we've actually tried it, what our impressions are, see what we think. But for now, I wanted to move on to something that is very unique, I would say. Dave the Diver. This was like, I'm just like, what the? What is this? Interesting. You catch fish, you serve sushi. I think you have to create recipes and, design a menu, serve your customers. And there's this huge underwater world to explore that changes. It's out pretty soon, October the 26th. There is a demo out now as well, which I'm going to jump on this weekend, I think, because I just want to give it a go. It just looks crazy or interesting, at least. Justin, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, my brother-in-law Kevin, he used to do some writing for Pure Nintendo. I think you met him, Kirk, at E3 out there. He was out there a couple times. He was telling me about it, and he's like, "Hey, have you heard of this Dave the Diver game?" And I was like, "No, I haven't heard of it at all." But like, he was telling me a little bit about it. If you guys, so it started out on Steam, so it's been on the PC for a little while, but like look at the Steam store page for it. Like the reviews for it are like 10 out of 10, overwhelmingly positive, like 98 or 99% people recommend. It was some just like like people
Wow.
are like, this game is like amazing. And so I'm just like, okay, this is okay. I'm listening, and I guess they said in the direct that it's coming to consoles first on the Switch. Sounds like
Yeah.
it's coming to the others after the Switch, but it's sort of a timed initial launch on the Switch, which I think is a perfect platform for it. But so it looks really interesting. Like the gameplay, like the art style looks really fun. It is this kind of RPG. The gameplay looks really interesting too. Again, it was just like nowhere near my radar. Like, I don't think I even looked it up when Kevin initially told me about it. But like once I saw it in the direct, I was like, oh, that's that game Kevin was talking about. This looks interesting.
Yeah, it sort of came out of nowhere for me. I had not heard of it. I don't have a brother-in-law to tell me these things. But yeah, looking at it now, it is 10 out of 10 on Steam. It's like amazing. And it came out 27th of October 2022. So it's almost to the day, a year later, that it'll be out on the Switch, which is kind of cool. So Trev, are you going to pick this one up? What do you think? Is this one that interests you? Had you heard of it?
I had not heard of it. It might be a little fast paced for me. Um, I tend to not be too good at those games, but I just, on a conceptual level, I love the idea because I always, like, if I'm playing a hunting game, I always wanted to play a hunting game where you kill the animals. I'm like, let me butcher the animal, let me cook it, let me serve it, and I feel like this is taking my idea. Okay, I'm not just catching the fish, I'm gutting them, I'm preparing them, I'm whatever. So I just love the idea,
Mm.
and so I hope the game does well on the Switch, just so we can see kind of more of those ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
going back to that theme I was mentioning of like just unique gameplay. Like this is very these kind of newer games are kind of pushing the boundaries of like, hey, I don't want to just make a platformer or a kind of fit in some typical genre. They're doing some really interesting, yeah, gameplay.
Yeah. Super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
see it being kind of a sleeper hit. Like it's been really popular on Steam. I think it's a big boon for the Switch to have the initial release of it, because I think a lot of people have a Switch and maybe a PlayStation or an Xbox, and I think they'll Switch, they'll be able to play it wherever they go. So I think it's really compelling to pick it up on the Switch versus
Mm.
the other.
Yeah, and it could work really well in handheld mode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be fun in handheld. Even the exploring underwater would be fun in handheld, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very curious. I'm going to give the demo a go and see what I think. Yeah, very interesting. We've got 2 more to talk about before we wrap things up. So let's move on to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC Wave 6, which I think we all knew was coming in the holiday. Well, we kind of assumed it would be December-ish because they said by the end of 2023, and that is rapidly approaching. And we've been given access or told what one course is, as well as the 3 characters that are remaining. Trev, thoughts?
It's interesting when they were showing up the new characters. It's like, oh, cool. You got Pauline and you got Funky Kong. I would have sworn we had Diddy Kong. I'm like,
Yeah,
really?
I thought so too, but obviously not.
But that's cool. I'm excited for that. I'm kind of glad they didn't. They only showed. It was Daisy Circuit the only one they showed. I'm kind of glad they didn't show them all because I want to be surprised.
Me too.
But
Yeah.
I think that's an iconic course. With the Luigi and Daisy dancing. That was kind of the first time where you're like, okay, is this like if Mario and Peach are a couple? Are these guys a couple? For me, anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not the most complex course, but I'll be
No.
looking forward to seeing it in HD. I feel like the Wii game, especially because it came out when the Wii was in an HD system, but its competitors were, and you're like, wow, this looks great, but I wish it was sharper. I wish it popped more. And now we'll get a chance to shine.
Yeah, I think it'll look nice. I think it has that kind of sunset-ish background to it in that course. It's kind of that orangey sky by the looks of it, from memory, which will translate really well, I think. Yeah, it's one of my favorite courses. Just it is simple, but it's pretty fast. There's that tunnel section that has pretty tight turns. It's actually been on Mario Kart Tour semi recently.
I think you can actually, because the last wave of DLC had Daisy Cruiser, and I think Daisy Cruiser's actually makes like a cameo in this track. Like you can see it when you do a certain track,
Oh, that's
corner.
cool. That's a nice Easter egg. Actually, Daisy, she's like a flavor of the month at the moment, because she's in Mario Wonder. She's got Daisy Circuit. My character profile in the next magazine issue is about Daisy. So, yeah. Teaser. Yeah. Anyway, they saved the Nintendo Direct saved the final announcement that they usually do till the very end. It's not a new game, but it is a classic title from 2004, which is Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, which I think a lot of people have very fond memories of. I know I do. So this is a 19-year-old game, Trev. So hopefully that passes the the remake test.
It's new to me because
You never
I
played it?
the N64 original, and I played on a 3DS, and I played the latest one, Origami King, but I never played this one for whatever reason.
Oh wow! Well, you're in for a treat. It is a good game. I would definitely picked this one up at the time and played it. It's very fun. Yeah.
I feel like how you feel playing Mario RPG.
Yes.
Same way.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'll probably still pick this up anyway because my kids haven't played it. And my eldest Harrison, he loved the latest Paper Mario game, Origami King. Yeah, he loved that game. Spent a lot of time with that one. So I will definitely get. Yeah. So for him, this will be fresh. Like you said, younger gamers won't have played a lot of the games that they're bringing out, whether it's Contra or Paper Mario. Does anyone else have any comments on Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door? Has Justin played this one? I assume you have.
I have. I don't remember beating it though. I remember enjoying it, and then like kind of years later, people were like, "Oh, this was so special." I was like, "Oh man, I wish I had fully finished it."
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is a classic. I think prior to Origami King, it was considered the best Paper Mario game. Like if you looked at rankings of fans, Origami King is still probably second. Like people, I think, still give Thousand Year Door the crown. But I think Origami King did a really good job of kind of bringing the series back and opening it up to more players too. And it's a good balance between the old gameplay and some new things. But yeah, I think Thousand Year Door and it's gonna be fantastic. I'll try and pick it up and although who knows with next year with all the Switch console, like I just like we've been inundated with a lot of amazing games this year. And,
I know it's overwhelming a little. There's been a lot. Yeah, been a lot. I didn't write down the date for this one. Sorry, was this next year? Was it a 2024 release?
Yeah, 2024. Yeah. I think that's all it has. It doesn't have a.
Yeah. Okay. No date.
It has to be because they couldn't have this and Mario RPG around the same time. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It doesn't mention a season. It just says in 2020. So.
And I mean, overall, when you think about it, you've got Peach, Paper Mario, Mario Kart, even Wario was mentioned in there, and he's like a spin-off of Mario. So yeah, a lot of Mario love, a little bit of RPG love, a lot of collections / reimaginings of games overall. But yeah, it was a good direct. A lot to look forward to. Did you have any final thoughts? Maybe Kirk, did you have any thoughts on Paper Mario? Sorry, I didn't ask you.
This is what's going to happen. I'm going to pick up either that or Mario versus Donkey Kong because I had them both. I played them both, and I imagine that both of them would entertain me enough. I don't like I said, I don't know if they fully warrant a second playthrough, but I'm going to give Nintendo the honor of picking up at least one of them and playing through it again.
That's a good plan. Yeah, nice.
I feel I should at the end of the Switch's life to go through one of those and remind myself of why I enjoyed them so much the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. I think that about wraps things up for this week. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. We'd love to know what you think about the latest Nintendo Direct. What's your highlights? Let us know. And if you like the show, please leave us a review, like and subscribe on YouTube. We do have our magazine coming out in about a month or so. We're working on it right now. So if you'd like to subscribe and receive something in print, please head over to patreon.com/purenintendo. In the meantime, head on over to purenintendo.com for all our great reviews. And thank you to everyone joining me today, Justin, Trev, and Kirk. It's been a fun discussion. Yeah. And until next week, game on, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everybody.